So, am I live currently? Yeah, it says we just started. Let's go ahead and have a look at the phone. Pull up YouTube on my phone and make sure that everything's going all right. Look at that. That's what's making my background look all tacky. That's the bag that this was in previously. I just kind of took it out and tossed it aside and wasn't really thinking much of it. Make sure we got a picture before we get started. Okay, so, and I got to figure out something to do with this. I think I want to just cut the artwork out of the top of the box and just kind of pin it to my wall or something. By the way, when I went to the movie yesterday, they gave us a little metal plate. I guess it's supposed to be like a tin sign, but it didn't have any holes in it or anything like to hang it up with. Mom said she was going to take hers and use a refrigerator magnet and like a thin, refrigerator magnet and kind of sandwich it in between that and her refrigerator. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with mine yet, but I'm kind of tempted to put it back here somewhere where it can be seen when I do my show. But there's so much stuff here. Oh boy, we got a bunch of people in the chat, and I haven't even acknowledged any of them yet because I've just been babbling on. TMNT N4W is here and says, yo, right back at you. Rouge Hansen here says, knock, knock. Do you want to go for 70? Sorry, I'm thinking about Interstellar. Hi, Rouge Hans. Good to see you. Al Davis is here and says, evening, Alan. Evening, everyone in the chat. Hello. And my cousin Amy is here. That's nice. That's always good to see her. Amy's Rockin' Pop Shop. Check out her channel if you haven't already. Once this video is over, obviously. And she asks, are there going to be spoilers? I'm going to try to avoid talking about any spoilers in this episode because, technically this is the day the movie's supposed to come out. I guess some theaters have it opening a little bit earlier than others, so I don't really want to get too into the whole spoilery thing yet. Although I will be talking about the movie, and there probably will be some at least kind of minor things that I'm going to try to avoid any real big spoilers, but I will say this. Because I'm sure this is what everybody is wondering. Like, did I enjoy the movie? Yes, I enjoyed the movie very much. I loved it. I thought it was great. I was really happy with it. It was pretty much everything that I needed it to be. It was probably the best big budget Masters of the Universe movie that I could expect out of Hollywood these days. And am I going to have some nitpicks? Of course, I'm going to have some nitpicks, and we will. We will do a spoiler episode later, but I want to at least wait until Saturday to do my spoiler episode. I might even wait till Sunday. I don't know, but yeah, I do want to have a good spoiler discussion. But I figure, like I said, a lot of people probably haven't seen the movie yet, and there's really no point in me discussing the movie with people who haven't seen it yet, unless you just want me to spoil it for you, and. It's probably going to be better if we just wait until we've all seen it, and that way we can all talk. So at least if I figure like by Saturday or Sunday, a few more people will have seen it, and then I'll have some people that I can talk with about it. So if you're in the chat right now, and if you're watching this in the replay, I'd also like to hear from you. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, when do you plan on seeing the movie? And hopefully it'll be before I do the live stream, and then you can join me in discussion with it. But hey, after the fact, I'm gonna do other live streams. I don't mind going off topic in the chat. So Amy says that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I was very happy with it. Bobby Wald asks, are green tigers protected species? I don't see a whole lot of them in the cartoon. Well, I kind of figure Cringer is a unique creature. And in my own continuity, of course, pretty much every He-Man throughout the history of Eternia. Every man who's protected this sword, every man who has held the name of He-Man, they've had their own battle cat, going all the way back to King Grayskull. I'm opening this up, and I haven't even talked about the box yet. King Grayskull, of course, had Battle Lion, and I kind of have my own ideas as to what mounts that other He-Men over the years. I'm thinking about since I've got files to do a wolf for vintage Masters Universe figures. I'm thinking about doing a wolf for Vicron, because I think that would be like a green wolf. He'll have a battle wolf. But yeah, Battle Lion was green and Cringer was green, and Battle Lion obviously being a lion. But yeah, in my head, the previous Battle Cat before Cringer, that would have been Battle Cat's father, he would have also been a green tiger, but he doesn't talk. So he would just be like a regular beast. He wouldn't speak at all. And Cringer is kind of unique in that he can speak, because he's got some kind of enchantment over him that makes him able to speak. That's how it works in my head anyway. That's not based off of anything official. This is just my own headcanon. Bobby Walt says, I thought Bobby meant Wednesday the person, because Bobby Walt said he's going to see it Wednesday night. Man, I would see it with Wednesday. Like I like Christina Ricci. That's if Christina Ricci wanted to watch that movie with me, I'd watch it with. Bobby Wald says, so if every single He-Man had a battle cat and no one has ever done the math, why is Adam walking around with a green tiger? Well, the real question is, if Cringer is the only talking green tiger, then how do they not associate that with the other talking green? If they only know two talking green tigers, it's kind of funny. I'm guessing it's that whole thing where like the powers of Grayskull affects it somehow. TMNT says, I like the Jenna version. Well, yeah, she's great. Who doesn't? I think Wednesday is one of those where it's like pretty much every casting of that has been good. And even like the weakest Wednesday, I would say, was the one that was the New Addams Family television show that was in the 90s. It was actually called The New Addams Family. Like, she was probably the weakest one. And she was even good. I mean, like it was just, it's not even that she was a bad Wednesday. It's just that she wasn't as good as Christina Ricci. And at that point, really, Christina Ricci is all you had to compare it to. Yeah, I know Lisa Loring in the original show, but she was so young in that original show, and they didn't give her or Pugsley a whole lot to do in the original show. So I kind of feel like it's unfair to even compare. But yeah, like I kind of feel like Christina Ricci is like the definitive Wednesday, and that's where all other Wednesdays kind of come from. So, and Jenna was like, you know, she was kind of channeling Christina Ricci's version a little bit. So I thought she did a good job with that. Wednesday was kind of like the version of the character that I would have liked to have seen if they had kept doing sequels to the Addams Family movies. If Raul Julia hadn't have sadly passed away far too soon. Maybe they could have kept doing them, and we could have seen like a teenage Wednesday out of Christina Ricci, and that would have been fun. And the original actor was in the Tim Burton one also. That's right. Christina Ricci was. She played one of the teachers in that. And or wait a minute, the original actor. She did the dance. Yeah, she did the dance. The Lisa Loring, yeah, she did the original Wednesday dance, and she was good. But like I said, they just didn't give her a whole lot to do on the original show. Like the original show was way more based on it was more based around, I think, the adult characters, and the kid characters were kind of there. You know, they occasionally you'd have an episode about Wednesday or Pugsley, but it was really more about the adult characters, I think. And Bobby Walt says, it's too bad the Empire didn't have the sorceress to erase their memories when the twins were separated in Star Wars, like what she did with when He-Man and She-Ra were separated. Yeah, and I guess we'll see a little more of, hopefully we get a sequel to Masters Universe where we get to see some of She-Ra. Like, I think at this point, everybody knows that that they are planning on doing She-Ra in the sequel. Right? That's not even spoilery of the movie. The director has said in interviews that he wants to do She-Ra in the sequel, so everybody knows that, right? Now, is there reference to She-Ra in the movie? You're just gonna have to watch it for yourself and see for yourself. I'm not gonna tell you. So, if we get to see any of She-Ra or any hints of She-Ra, you're just gonna have to watch the movie yourself. And yeah, Thornhill was the teacher. That's who she played on. She was the red. She was. I got to see a redheaded Christina Ricci, and that was like, that was a treat for me. Oh man. So let's go ahead and talk about this action figure that I got to open up for you here. So Battle Cat, Fighting Tiger. And I do really like, I think I've pointed this out before, I do really like how they do have like the kind of descriptors of the character here that, that we had on the old toys. Like oftentimes we've been seeing these in these Chronicles series. There's the Mattel logo, Master of the Universe logo. Nice little picture of Battle Cat here. Doesn't have the usual, probably because it's a big old beast. He'd just trample Skeletor, wouldn't he? First, Bobby Walt says, first I've heard, now I don't need to see the movie. No, you still need to see the movie. I haven't spoiled anything about that movie. You don't know if it even mentions her at all. You still need to watch it. So here's what the back looks like. We got Battle Cat without his armor. Now here might be a slightly spoilery thing, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about this real quick. And you just address this real fast. You don't get to see Battle Cat in armor very much in this movie. He's mostly Cringer. So if you want a truly movie accurate version, you're probably going to take off the armor. But they can't not show Battle Cat in the armor at all. So and they gotta have it for the action figure. You don't want to just buy a Cringer figure. That's not going to be any fun. And honestly, like I don't think that the figure would sit as well on a Cringer without the armor as he would sit on the saddle that's built into the Battle Cat armor. So and the helmet's really cool. They did a really good job designing this character. Like designing a green tiger is not that hard. It's like you take a tiger and you make him green, and that's all you really need to do. We'll just palette swap it. We'll palette swap the orange for green, and we'll palette swap the black for orange, and then we've got our Battle Cat. So let me read the bio on the back here. Battle Cat, Fighting Tiger. Cringer may look like Prince Adam's pet, but once He-Man raises the Sword of Power and calls upon the power of Grayskull, Cringer transforms into the mighty Battle Cat. As He-Man's loyal friend and steed, he charges into battle against Skeletor alongside the Masters of the Universe. All right. And then you do have cross-sell artwork here for the first wave of Chronicles figures with He-Man, Man-at-Arms, and Triclops. So let's go ahead and get this guy out of the package. They did a good job with Cringer. And the other thing I will say about Cringer / Battle Cat in this movie, for those of you who are wondering, it's like, yes, he does talk. Because I'm sure some of you are wondering about that. So, and that's not going to be a spoiler, really, because like the very first scene you see Cringer and he's talking. So, I remember like telling somebody about the movie American Beauty, and telling them that the character that Kevin Spacey plays in it dies at the end, and they were like, "Wait, I haven't seen the movie." I'm like, "Don't worry, it's not a spoiler because he says so in like the first 5 minutes of the movie that he's going to be." In less than a year, I'll be dead. So it's not a spoiler, really. So, man, they got these rubber tabs in here, and they're like very flush with the back of the package. And like I don't even know if I was trying to get them with the X-Acto knife, just because like I don't think it would be any easier to get them with the snips. Yes, Max Games and Toys is here, and that's a guy that I was really hoping I would see today. And And Max says that he loves the movie, and I agree. I thought it was excellent. And it's like there's a few people that I know both in real life and in this wonderful internet world that we've created that I know are just as passionate about this as I and I was hoping that because I know you were excited about the movie too, and then he's got this weird rubber band that's like all twisted around his ankle in every which way. I don't know why they did that. And he's got more rubber tabs holding him into this thing. Ah, man, it's going to be freaking terrible. But yeah, Max Games and Toys says, we have the power. Yes, we certainly do. And hopefully this movie has the power at the box office because I definitely want to see the sequel. You know what I mean? But yeah, we get to see. I would have liked to have seen more of Cringer, honestly. But because, you know, he's got rubber tabs holding him on this. Man, they went crazy with the rubber tabs on this thing. But yeah, like I kind of feel like they got him in there about as much as like the story would allow them to get him in there. But man, I want to see more of Cringer, and that's another reason that I really want to see the sequel. Is that there's so many different characters and things like that, and I kind of feel like a lot of them is like I just didn't get enough of this character. I didn't get enough of that character. I want to see more of, you know, more of X, Y, and Z. Like, you know, like to me, I would have loved to have seen more of the sorceress in this movie. I would have loved to have, you know, seen a little bit more. Well, I don't want. Again, don't want to get too spoilery, but I would like to have seen more of the sorceress. I liked the way they did the sorceress. Man, he is massive. Look at this guy. Max Games and Toy says it's a mix between Filmation and 2000X. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think aesthetically, as I've pointed out many times when I've been opening up all those 2000X figures. By the way, I do have an order coming from Big Bad Toy Store, so we're gonna have more 2000X figures once that arrives. I'm gonna have Tila and Merman and Web Store. So yeah, that's gonna have those coming up soon. Al Davis says, I love that they animated Skeletor's brow, making the face able to show lots of expressions. Yeah, that was not something I was really expecting, but I thought it worked really well. And Max says, unfortunately, the younger generations don't know He-Man, and the general public doesn't connect with it. But if they go to the movies, they'll love it. Well, you know, it's a sort of thing where it's, you know, at least back in the old days, before the dark times, before COVID, and people went to the movies fairly regularly, you didn't really even have to be into a franchise to want to go see the movie. Like with Harry Potter, I'd never read a Harry Potter book in my life, and I still went and saw the movie. And the main reason I went and saw the movie is because Alan Rickman was in it. I'm always been a huge fan of Alan Rickman. Ever since Die Hard, you know, you Die Hard, and then you had Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and just like everything that guy has been an excellent actor. But those were the two that really made me a fan of this guy. And I'm like, hey, if Alan Rickman's in it, at least there's one thing I'm going to enjoy watching in that movie, and that's Alan Rickman's performance. So I will definitely want to watch that. But and then John Williams was doing the score for it. So hey, you know, I'll get to see at least you know some good. There's other good actors besides him in there, like Robbie Coltrane and Maggie Smith, and you know I'll get to see some good actors, and I'll get to hear a good score, and my mom and my grandma really like these books, so that'll be something to discuss with them. But you go and see whatever big movie is out that weekend. That's how it used to be. And nowadays, it's like you really got to have something to really grab people to get them out of the theater. Now, I've seen some reviews of this movie that I don't know. I think there's some people, I don't want to name names, but I think there's some people that just kind of have it out for this movie for whatever reason. As far as like some of the movie reviewers that I see on YouTube, I think some of them have their own reasons to have it out for this movie, and I couldn't possibly speculate as to what they are. But everybody that I've talked to that's been like a regular person or somebody that's a fan, like Max is also a very passionate fan of Masters of the Universe. Everybody that I've talked to about it has really enjoyed it. So, and yeah, we're all gonna have our nitpicks. There's always gonna be things where I'm like, this could have been better. This could have been left out entirely. I'd like to see them concentrate more on this and less on that sort of thing. And we will get into all that discussion later on, on a future episode. I'm gonna do an episode that's not an unboxing where we're just gonna talk about the movie. And that's probably if it's gonna be tomorrow, maybe it'll either be tomorrow or Sunday. It'll be one of those days. Amy requests she would like to see a close up of his face, and there you go. Doesn't he look cool? Then they get a lot of good paint detailing in that. Look at the pink on the nose. I didn't really expect them to have a pink nose. I usually think of Battle Cat's nose as being like a dark green. When I do my own Battle Cat, where I paint one like the Cringer that I made, which I might still have that down here somewhere. My Origins Cringer that I made. It was one of the first customs that I made for Origins. Is that they had at Walmart at the time like a little toy tiger, like a little tiger figurine. Yeah, here he is. And this figurine, like I guess it was made by some like really cheap toy company. And yes, Al asks if the jaw opens, and yes, the jaw does open. Amy says, "Oh, I love him." Well, that's good. So yeah, they had this cheap toy tiger, and if it looks familiar to any Masters of the Universe Classics collectors in the audience, basically this toy company just kind of redid the mold of Cringer. they did a copy of the Cringer mold, and they resculpted his face so it looked more like a generic tiger than actually looking like Cringer. But when I repainted it, of course, I had to make him look more, I had to go in the opposite direction and make him look more like Cringer again. But you can see what I'm talking about. Usually when I paint Cringer, I give him a dark green nose. And but he has a pink nose in the movie. So I'm not complaining about that. I just think it's interesting. It's an interesting choice. And his green is like, it's not quite as bright and vibrant as again, like this is not a factory made. This is a custom that I made. I painted it like this, so I made these choices. But but I was trying to match this shade of green as close as I could to the original toy because I wanted it, or the Origins Battle Cat. I mean, when I say original toy, not the vintage one, but they're pretty much the same color anyway. But yeah, so I tried to give him that. Tried to give him that sort of. He's a little frightened because he's Cringer, so I wanted him to have that sort of look to him. But yeah, this one's just kind of like a figurine. It's just kind of a slug. This is the same one that, like I said, in the Classics line, they had Queen Marlena come with Cringer, and but this toy company, I don't even know if it says the toy company on here because it's like a little dollar kind of. It says Tiger, made in China. And I think there's some kind of toy company name on there, but I can't quite make it out. I think I layered the paint on a little too thickly. But yeah, so yeah, this is basically a bootleg Cringer to begin with. They just changed up his head and painted him orange instead of green. But yeah, so yeah, he's a little more muted in terms of the green. But hey, it's a green tiger. He doesn't really have to be like that extreme. It's already extreme enough, isn't it? Amy says, "Love how you reimagine him." Well, thanks, Amy. I appreciate that. Al Davis asks, "Is the jaw opened?" I guess he probably typed that before I was playing around with it. But yeah, the jaw does open. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. Al Davis says, "All the reviewers I like seem to have loved it." Well, that's good. I haven't seen too many mainstream reviews that were trashing on it. Most of the ones I'm talking about are kind of the usual suspects of like the the YouTube type reviewers. So Al Davis says kitten Cringer. Yeah, exactly. This was I was trying to make him look like as close as I could to the cartoon version of him. And I felt like that this one was a little, when they did the original, Classics mold, I felt like it was a little too small for Classics, and a lot of people agreed with me. So people would think of that. Well, it's him when he's a kitten or whatever. But I thought it was the perfect size for Origins. I mean, in fact, here's the Prince Adam that I made him to fit with, and I feel like that works. That works pretty well. See, so he comes up about to Adam's waist, and that's pretty good. So yeah, and then when they actually did an Origins Cringer, it was the Filmation version, and he's much larger than this one. 3D printer has done 3D printing. All right. So, and Max Games and Toys says, you have a full house today, my friend Alan. I sure do. I got lots of cool people in the chat. I kind of figure it's probably at least because of the movie a little bit, because people want to see what I have to say about the movie. So, which again, I did enjoy. I thought that, so here we got He-Man right over here. And you can see, like, I still have that Thundercats armor on. I still haven't bothered to switch it off since I put it on there. But Amy says it feels like a Saturday. It does, kind of. But, it's before I got to go to work. So, but yeah, it does kind of feel like a Saturday. But yeah, so we can put He-Man on there later. I still got that Filmation style armor from the Thundercats figure on there. I still haven't bothered to swap back on the actual movie armor. I need to do that later. Amy says, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait for you to see it so I can discuss it with you. So that'll be fun. So yeah, and then the helmet, like I said, the helmet kind of came off when where did I put the helmet? The helmet kind of came off when I was taking them out of the box, and now I seem to have misplaced it. I seem to have mislaid the helmet, and I'm looking around here trying to find where maybe it fell or something like that. I don't know. I'm always misplacing stuff. It's got to be around here somewhere. Didn't fall under my booty, did it? No. There it is. Okay, it's on my desk. It just like the little keyboard shelf, slid back, and it went underneath the actual desk part of the desk. Let's see, where was I? Am I missing part of the chat? Al Davis says, I thought your pan-piping elf was telling you that dinner was ready. No, it's the pan-piping elf that lives in the 3D printer. TMNT says that I'm still here. Good. You're always welcome here. And Amy says, I'm sick with a virus, so I hope I'm well by Wednesday when I have my tickets. I hope so too, because I actually talked with Amy the other day, right before I watched the movie, actually. And she mentioned to me that she was a little ill at the time. So everybody in the chat, give Amy your get well wishes soon. Get well soon wishes. There, that's how I meant to say that. Max Games and Toys says, my biggest complaint about the movie is it should have been longer. Al Davis says to Amy, hope you feel better soon. And Amy says, thank you. So yeah, like I got the feeling me and Max could probably still be sitting in the theater right now and be like, man, this movie isn't over yet, but it's still too short. Oh man. So the here he is with the helmet. We'll get the helmet on him real quick, and it just kind of clamps on there. It fits on there nicely. So and you notice the helmet and the saddle are two completely different kinds of plastic. This is more of like a pliable, that sort of rubbery kind of plastic, and this one's more like sort of a nylon almost. It's got a little bit of give to it, but it's not really like pliable in the same way that the softer plastic is. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. And he does have a lot of articulation that we want to go over. And before I do that, let's go ahead and we'll have him completely unfettered. We will take off the armor, and then we can see Battle Cat as he actually appears through most of the movie. Al Davis says, I have a loose wisdom tooth at the moment, Anyone feeling crappy has my sympathies. Well, you have my sympathies as well. I hope you can get that taken care of very soon. Getting less wise by the day. I still have all my wisdom teeth because I'm a freak. I'm pretty sure I'm a throwback to like Cro-Magnons or Neanderthals or something like that. And Amy says, "Oh man, that sounds awful, Al. I hope you can get it extracted soon." Yeah, I remember Amy actually had a really hard time with her wisdom teeth. So if anybody's going to be sympathetic, it's going to be her. I think weren't those like completely impacted, like you had to actually have surgery to get them out. Oh, that was awful. Oh man, that was the worst. I remember that. She was staying over at my grandmother's house because she couldn't do anything because she was just in such pain. So, and Lone Dragon is here and says ... A little mysterious ... So, did you see the movie yet, Lone Dragon? Did I know Max saw the movie, but I don't think anyone else here that I know of saw it. We are 8 in the chat. Yeah, 9 now. So well, technically 8 because one of those is me. Al Davis says it's an occasional nightmare. I'm working on it's working loose, so I'm hammering headache tablets like it's going out of fashion. And Amy said I got all 4 out at 17, and I got dry sockets, and they cut me under the tongue during the surgery to boot. Oh yeah, see, like I said, she had a particularly bad experience with the wisdom teeth. And TMNT says, "Wish you luck." Lone Dragon says, "My first comment got skipped. Why waste time typing out full thoughts?" Well, I didn't see it. I didn't see your first comment. Let's see if I can scroll back up and see it. Here we go. Just admit to yourself that you were a hoarder and misplaced it in your piles of stuff. We are all hoarders. Okay, there we go. I found it. And Amy says that, her sickness is con crud from Monster Palooza. Yeah, it does tend to happen. I'm sorry, Lone Dragon. I had a feeling I was missing something in the chat too. So, but I got you. Now we are 9. Which one's you? The first one. I was the first one because I had opened up. I had it opened up before you. By Lone Dragon says late, lazy. Well, whatever. Al Davis says, "Amy, that sounds terrible. Anything mouthy isn't fun." Well, anything dental isn't fun. I'll put it that way. Man, this guy has a great amount of articulation. Now, if you remember way back, long time ago, when I opened up the Origins Battle Cat, my main complaint about the articulation on him is he did not have articulated ankles, and I kind of felt like that limited the kind of poses that you could put him in. This guy's got articulated ankles, and you can see I've got him in a good pounce review. Like we're gonna talk more about this articulation in just a minute. Al Davis says, "I got called a collector by one of my tenant's friends. I felt good briefly." Bad mouth. Yep, that's what I meant. So yeah, let's get into talking about all the articulation this guy has. All right, so Cringer is articulated at the jaw, first of all. As we've already discussed, he does have a jaw that opens and closes, and that's cool. But one thing you'll notice that's pretty neat is the roof of it, the entire roof of his mouth is actually articulated. Look at that. See how you can see his teeth moving? And that's so when you close his mouth, he can close his mouth all the way. How about that? That's pretty cool. So you just got the little fangs sticking out there. And then you can see all of his front teeth when the mouth is fully open. And he's got some good paint detailing in there where like the pink is painted on the inside of the mouth. And unfortunately, mine has a little bit of a blotch, a little bit of an imperfection there where you can see like a little bit of the white from the teeth got painted onto his tongue. So I'll have to see how I can fix that later. Cringer's head rotates all the way around. It juts like straight out of the neck. And then where the head connects to the neck, he can look down about that far and look up about that far. And then kind of look from side to side a little bit as far as that goes. You can look from side to side a little bit more when you get down to the base of the neck. And then we got more articulation that moves back and forth. And it seems like there is some rotation to this, but I don't know if you can get it to rotate all the way around. This is a very hard plastic, and this is a very hard plastic. So it's going to kind of scrape up against I don't know why you would want to try to turn his head all the way around there anyway, but I think theoretically you could, but I'm not going to go that far. I don't think that's necessary. But if you really want to have him with his head upside down, that's probably the best way to do it, where the head meets the neck. And then Cringer's front legs rotate all the way around. And they've got a little bit of a hinge right here, so they can move back and forth like that. And that's cool. So, again, we can get a lot of really cool poses out of this guy. And then at Cringer's, God, what do you call this on a cat? It's not an elbow because it's his leg. It's a knee, the front knee. I don't know. I'm not a veterinarian. I'm not like an animal biologist. I don't know how that stuff works. Lone Dragon says, why would you turn his head turn that way? The power of Christ compels you. And Al Davis says he pukes prune soup to counter the pea soup. Well, that makes sense. Al Davis says, Amy, if you put a link to your channel in the chat, I'll pop over to sub. So, and you should, because she posts some cool stuff. So let's see. I think that, am I caught up? Lone Dragon was the one who said the name 200 eggs. Yeah. Yes, 2,000 eggs. Yeah, I got what you're saying. Okay, I got you. That makes sense. Yeah, he's not fond of that nickname for the elbow. My ex hated for me referring to like cat's paws as hands. Yeah, well, his hands do rotate all the way around, and then that's got a hinge on them, the front paws. So they got a hinge so they can move back and forth like that, up and down. Really, it's a vertical hinge, and then they rotate all the way around. So you do get to see Cringer fight Beastman in the movie. That's not really a spoiler. That's just something cool to look forward to, is seeing Cringer fight Beastman. And like one of my favorite moments in the movie is while Cringer is fighting Beastman. And I'm not going to say what that is until we get into the spoiler discussion. So that's a tease for when I do spoiler discussion in that future episode. Lone Dragon says, fart noise. There you go. So Cringer, Battle Cat, whatever you want to call this guy. He's got an articulation here that moves back and forth, like right where, I guess, pretty much where the rib cage would meet the abdominals, but I think like a little further up, actually. But you can see it kind of wobbles back and forth like that. And it moves up and down like that. And there doesn't seem to be any rotation to it. I think it might be a ball joint, and it might technically be the kind of joint that can rotate, but just the way that the figure is put together, it's not going to allow that with the hard plastic on the hard plastic. Lone Dragon says, shame I don't watch movies with effing Leto in them. Well, normally that's probably a good policy because he's been in a lot of crappy movies lately. But I'm going to tell you right now, Jared Leto did a great job in this movie. I think that Jared Leto was excellent as Skeletor. I'm going to say that. And hey, if you're going to watch Jared Leto in a movie, you might as well watch him in a movie where like you don't actually see him at all, and he just has a CGI skull for a head through the whole movie, and he's talking in like this kind of like Shakespearean type of voice where he doesn't even sound like Jared Leto. It's the least Jared Leto that you're gonna get out of a Jared Leto performance. Max Games Toy says there are too many comments for the Mighty Allen. Yeah, like sometimes it's sometimes it's just a little too much for me. Al Davis says, I hope Beastman wasn't regulated to just the freeway / highway / motor fight scene. No, he's got a few scenes. He's another one that I would have liked to have seen more of Beastman. I would have, but there's so many characters in this movie. Not everybody's going to get their chance to shine. And really, it's Adam's story. It's his story. And, probably the most of the characters you get is, Skeletor, obviously, because he's the main villain, and Evil Lynn, because she's his main henchman. And then Teela and Man-at-Arms, who are like, the main side characters to Adam / He-Man. So you're going to see a lot of them. And but yeah, I would love to see more of like pretty much every character in this movie that isn't a character that I just listed. And I still want to see more of them, but but I want to see more of the Sorceress. I want to see more of Triclops. I want to see like like, you know, more Beast Man, you know. I want to see more of Goat Man. But you know, we'll talk more about that in the spoilers on the when I do the spoiler episode. We'll talk more about that. Lone Dragon says wet fart noise. Ew, gross. That's about as wet as I can get. I hope Al Davis says he's getting great notices for it too. Yeah, maybe Jared Leto has finally broken his curse of being box office poison that he's been for like the longest time. I think the last hit movie he was in was Suicide Squad, and even then, that's one that, like, you know, a lot of people tend to hate on Suicide Squad. Personally, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I would like to see the director's cut one of these days. But like I will say that Jared Leto probably was the worst Joker out of all the Jokers. But even then, I don't even think it was necessarily because he was a bad Joker. I think it's just because everybody else was like way better than him. So, Lone Dragon says Ram Man and Fisto at the Eternian Blue Oyster Tavern. Shout out to my friend Brad Taylor if he's watching this, by the way. That seems like the appropriate place to have a shout out to Brad Taylor. If you're watching this, Brad, I hope you're doing well. So, anywho, let's get back to this articulation. So again, Cringer kind of moves back and forth a little bit here, where basically where the hips would be, and then up and down about that far. And again, it seems like it rotates a little bit, but it doesn't rotate a whole lot. This is all, like I said, this very hard styrene kind of plastic, so it's not going to have a whole lot of give as far as rotating around. Lone Dragon says, I like the second Suicide Squad, okay, if you cut out all the bits with Harley Quinn. Yeah, that one just couldn't hold my interest. That one I tried to watch it and I just could not get into it. It was just not doing it for me. It just like I just got bored with it, man. Like and then like I know that a lot of people really like that James Gunn Suicide Squad movie. Not enough for it to make money at the box office, apparently. But you know, most people that have seen it tend to like it. I'm the odd man out there, man. I like the first one better, and I'm not gonna lie about it. But anyway, so this back leg rotates all the way around, and it again has this sort of hinge to it where it moves back and forth like that, and then see all this rubber band that's this weird random rubber band that's all wrapped around there, and ugh. Anyway, so this knee that has, you know, this hinge on it which moves back and forth, and then that rotates all the way around, and then I guess this is ankle up and down like that, and then that rotates all the way around, and then where the front part of the paw is back and forth, and then that rotates all the way around. And last but not least, the tail. So the tail can move down about that far, move up about that far, and then that rotates all the way around. So there's a ton of articulation on this guy. This is a fairly expensive figure, and it justifies its cost, I would say. This is not a cheap figure, and nor should it be a cheap figure. I kind of feel like this is a good deal for what you're paying for it. That they did a good job. Lone Dragon says, Rubber Band, they neutered Cringer like a farm animal? Well, not unless his testicles are down around his ankle. Which, you know, they might be. I don't know. He's a green cat from another planet that talks. Who knows where his genitals are? Not everyone keeps their genitals in the same place, Captain. So, remember when Captain Kirk was in Star Trek 6, when he was fighting that alien in the Klingon prison, and he kicks him in the knee, and the alien's all in pain, his knees all like glowing, and then Kirk's like, it's a good thing that he had knees, and Iman is like, that was not his knee. Not everyone keeps their genitals in the same place, Captain. Anything you want to tell us? I do love that movie. Check the box for his like little furry green pom-poms. No, those were not included, but you know. So we'll go ahead and get the saddle back on him, the armor, It's got like fairly narrow straps, and they fit in these buckles, and then they have a little peg and a hole that holds them in there. It does remind me a lot of the straps that were on the original Battle Cat figure back in the 80s, but this is a much more rubbery, pliable kind of plastic than that one was. And he does have the extra straps. This is probably my favorite thing about this redesign of Battle Cat, is he does have some extra straps that go around the front of his torso. If I can get this back on here. There we go. So yeah, he's got a little bit of a breastplate there, and then some extra straps that go on there. Al Davis says Undiscovered Country is one of my favorites. Absolutely. You know, everybody always says how Star Trek 2 is the best Star Trek movie. Like, the real Star Trek fans know that Star Trek 2 is the best Star Trek movie. But and the general public, I think, like, is pretty much that at consensus. They might also say Star Trek 4, the one with the whales, as my sister calls it. But I would say the truly discerning Trekkie, or Trekker, if you prefer that term, the truly discerning among us aficionados of Star Trek will tell you that Star Trek 6 is the closest to being as good as Star Trek 2, and maybe even just as good, maybe even better, depending on who you ask. A lot of people, that's their favorite Star Trek movie. And no surprise, it's the other one that's directed by Nicholas Meyer. So Lone Dragon says, I might have actually bought Battle Cat had my local stores chosen not to continue to carry Mo2 despite the new movie. Yeah, I'd be surprised if they wound up not getting more in. I haven't checked any of my local Walmarts that don't have that at least previously didn't have Masters of the Universe, to see if maybe they started stocking the new movie toys yet. That might be a good thing to do sometime in the future. But now that you mention it, I think I'd been thinking about it, but Lone Dragon mentioning it makes me think, yeah, maybe I definitely should check that out. Stop by some of these other Walmarts that I don't go to, because it's a Walmart I don't go to because they ain't got no Mo2. And no G.I. Joe either. I think I've mentioned that before. It seems like to me, if it's a Walmart that doesn't have Masters of the Universe, they don't have G.I. Joe either. Like, I've never been to one that has G.I. Joe and no Masters of the Universe, and I've never been to one that has Masters of the Universe and no G.I. Joe. Either they got both of them, or they have neither one. Al Davis says, Voyage Home is my second favorite. Well, Double Dumbass on You. Yeah, that's like probably one of my favorite parts of that movie. TMNT says, bye. Well, bye. Good seeing you. Glad you stopped by. Hope to see you in a future episode. So yeah, now that we've got, let's go and put the helmet back on him. We might as well have this all set up properly. Get the helmet back onto him, and there we go. We got our fully formed Battle Cat again. And you know what we got to do now? We got to put He-Man on Battle Cat. So here we go. There he is on Battle Cat, and he looks really cool on it. Lone Dragon says, I have 4 Walmarts, no Mo2, no G.I. Joe, no Jada, Street Fighter 2, no Jack Simpsons. Bad selection of Marvel and Transformers. That is very disappointing. And the Walmarts in your town need to get their act together. Thankfully, the 2 main Walmarts I go to, there's one that's fairly close to my house and one that's fairly close to my work. And both of those get in plenty of Masters of the Universe and plenty of G.I. Joe. So, and the helmet fell off. Yeah, so I'm going to say this helmet, it does not stay on as well as I would like. And maybe I'm just not putting it back on right, but it did fall off like straight out of the package. So I'm thinking that this one, it's just not going to stay on as well as I would like. And, that might be a problem if like a kid's playing with it or something, and it might keep falling off. When I was a kid, I usually didn't keep the helmet on Battle Cat anyway. I like seeing him with that tiger head. So maybe I'll just display that one this way as well. I'm a big fan of the mini comics, and the first one I ever had was King of Castle Grayskull, and that's the one that has that great cover with Battle Cat leaping out towards Skeletor, and the helmet was off. And they actually have the helmet drawn as like setting over on the ground nearby. But I think that one kind of fixed itself in my head. Is like that's Battle Cat right there, and I think that's why I used to like to take his helmet off a lot. Lone Dragon says, "And my Walmarts did carry GI Joe without Motu for a year or so before dropping it too." Well, that's unfortunate. They should have more of that stuff. So, but yeah, like I don't know. Like most of my Walmarts tend to have that stuff, but some of them don't. Like there's another one that's close to my house that doesn't, and I think like it is two of the two other Walmarts that are close to my house. Neither one of them has had Motu or GI Joe. Last time I checked. Amy asks, "Do you remember when we were not allowed to watch Wrath of Khan?" Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that. So but I think it was probably because of the worms, because of the brain worms. I think that probably would have been what would have done it. But yeah, like I kind of think when that movie was new, I kind of didn't want to see it because I heard Mr. Spock died, and I didn't want to see Mr. Spock die, so I kind of didn't want to see it because of that. But he got better later, and I did see Star Trek 3. I saw Star Trek 3 actually before I saw Star Trek 2. And Spock comes back in that one because it's the search for Spock. Spoiler warning for the search for Spock. They find Spock. That's William Shatner always makes that joke about like, well, we're gonna find him because we're not gonna do a movie called The Search for Spock and be like, well, we didn't find him. They put creatures into our bodies. Yeah, I think that was the main. That was probably. I suspect that would have been the main thing that would have been like, yeah, I could see Grandma being like, no, don't let him watch that. But like I said, I kind of felt like I didn't want to see Spock die. This is just me personally, and I was like much younger at the time. I was still like maybe like first grade or something like that. But yeah, he got better, and Star Trek 3 has plenty of stuff that would creep a kid out too. Like I guess they felt like they got such a reaction out of the brainworms that they had to do they had to do something to be the equivalent of that. So then you had like the kind of microbes that mutated into like these kind of giant paramecium looking things, and then eventually like this kind of weird tentacle monster that tries to kill Christopher Lloyd. We keep talking about Christopher Lloyd in this episode, so I'm a big fan of Christopher Lloyd. Al Davis says, Botany Bay. Botany Bay. We've got to get out of here. Damn. Yeah, like Walter Koenig is great in that. And they wind up having him be the guy that, like, famously, Khan sees Chekhov and he's like, I never forget the face. But in what's kind of one of the continuity flubs of that movie is Chekhov isn't actually in that episode. He's not in the episode Space Seed. There's never a scene in that episode where I don't think Chekhov was even on the show yet. I don't think they'd even hired Walter Koenig. And I suspect the reason that they used Chekhov rather than any of the other crew members, because it could have been Sulu, it could have been Uhura or somebody like that, But I suspect the reason they use Chekhov is because Walter Koenig is a good screamer, and they like the way that he screams. So they used him instead. And Walter Koenig, he saw he was getting a juicy part in one of these movies, so he ain't gonna say anything. He knows he wasn't in that episode, but he ain't zip. Not saying a word. And then Haldane says, nuclear vessels. I think it's across the bay in Alameda. That's what I said, Alameda. Oh man. So, but yeah, there's He-Man on Battle Cat, and he's just freaking huge. Like you can see how huge he is with He-Man on there. Like, and that's how big he is next to a human being. And let's just for fun. Now there is a Kids Core line Battle Cat, and I don't know if I'm going to get that one yet, but he's a bit smaller than this one. But we can go ahead and put our Kids Core He-Man on Battle Cat and see what that looks like. And then he looks even more immense, doesn't he? Because the Kids Core line is a little bit small. He's a whopper, says Al Davis. Yes, indeed. So yeah, and then last but not least, you know, I gotta put the Origins version on there, the big old chunky boy, the vintage sized movie He-Man, and that looks awesome. He looks really good on that. That is so cool. So yeah, so that's our Chronicles Battle Cat, and I think they did a really excellent job with this. There's still a lot of stuff that I haven't talked about too. Like there's some stitching in the saddle, like it's almost like a floral kind of pattern, kind of like there's a little flower right here and some vines and some foliage that's kind of like embossed into the saddle, and that's really cool. It makes me think of like, what was that guy's name? James Jacks. What was that guy's name that did the artsy He-Man and Battle Cat set and the Skeletor and Panther set? Let me see. He-Man. James. I think it was James something. Not Herman James. Why did you autocorrect that? He-Man. What was that guy's name? What was the guy's name? The artiste that did the very fancy James Jean. That was his name. The floral He-Man and Battle Cat. It kind of makes me wonder if they were designing this like at the same time they knew that was going on and put the flowers in there as kind of an Easter egg for anybody. Man, I don't know about that. That set's like, for one thing, that's just an expensive set for me to buy. And for another thing, like I don't think that's like my cup of tea. Typing like a fucking whiz, holding the mouse up to his mouth. Hello, computer, and then typing like a, yeah. If you could see me typing, that's pretty much how I type too. Not anywhere near as fast, but the hunting and pecking. Yeah, that dude hunts and pecks faster than in. Hello, computer. Just use the keyboard. A keyboard. How quaint. Not James Dean. James Jean. He was that artist that did that floral He-Man and Battle Cat. So I kind of wonder if maybe they knew that was happening at the time and put that flower in there as like an homage to his version of He-Man. I do really like the Skeletor and Battle Cat set that he did, where it was the red coral. That one looks sweet, but again, it's cost prohibitive. It's $100. I don't know if I want to spend $100 on something like that. But I hope that like those figures like, you know, sell pretty well, because like he is a dude who like obviously is a fan of the franchise, and you know, he's got his own following. So I'm kind of hoping to be one of those things where it's like, you know, people who are his fans, maybe not even necessarily Master Universe fans, would buy a lot of them. Lone Dragon says, did you see that AI someone did of Michael Jackson He-Man figure? Yeah, I did see that. And Prince as Skeletor, and I thought those were really cool. I kind of almost want to make those myself, you know, like make those in real life because of how cool I thought they were. Yeah, so those were a lot of fun. So yeah, I guess that's it for Battle Cat. I can't think of really anything else to say about this figure other than it's awesome, and I'm glad I have him. And you should definitely pick him up. I know it's an expensive figure, but trust me, it justifies the cost. It's got a lot of good articulation, and it's freaking huge. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to do the thumbnail picture for this, and I'm gonna take He-Man with me, and he's just gonna have that Thundercats armor on him, since I can't find what I did with the armor that came with this figure. Now I was planning on buying a second one of these so that I could turn one of them into the a more classic style He-Man, and I had a head picked out that I was going to print out and put that head on here, and but that's going to be sometime in the near future. But I definitely still want to have a movie He-Man that I keep intact, so I don't really want to do anything with the head until I have the second Chronicles figure in hand. So, but anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe on all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about Battle Cat, like this particular version, and let me know just the character in general, anything like that in the comments for the replay. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. So, next episode, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next episode because I do still have a few movie figures left, because I have the Skell Knight, and I actually have two Skell Knights, and I have Mekaneck, both of those from the Kids Core line, and it is a great figure. Max says it's a great figure, and I agree. Like, unsubscribe, and something? Got it. Well, no, like and subscribe. You don't want to unsubscribe. Then you won't get any of the notifications when I'm doing something new. And, even if you hate these videos, you should subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell. So that way, when you see that I have a new video up, you know not to watch it or to hate watch it. I'm fine with people hate watching it too. And leave comments about how I suck and I spend too much time talking and don't show the figure enough on the screen. Let me know these things. But yeah, I haven't really decided what else to open up. I definitely want to open up. I'm definitely still got some more Masters Universe stuff to open, and I'm definitely still in the mood for that. So we're definitely going to get some of those open. And like I said, when I get my next Big Bad Toy Store order in, that'll have more of the 2000X Origins figures in there. I'll have Teela and Merman and Web Store. So I'm looking forward to opening these up. Amy says, "Fun hang, guys." Yeah, and it's always good to have Amy around here, isn't it? So, and then Lone Dragon says, "Complain in the comments that you talk too much. They talk to the chat too much, and that's boring for people watching later." Will do. I mean, hey, whatever. Comments are comments. I'll take what I can get. Like, subscribe, and donate money. I like the sound of that. Al Davis is hand modeling and waves and gestures. No, top notch. No notes. Yeah, it'd be nice if like my hands. I got all these hangnails and everything. My hands are hideous right now. It's all engagement, says Amy. Exactly. And like like they always said in the old days, all publicity is good publicity. Well, all engagement is good engagement. So yeah, give me a thumbs down, tell me how much you hate me, and definitely make sure you subscribe so you can hate watch me in the future. So I always believe in monetizing your haters. Thanks for the money, guys, suckers. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.